Welcome to the Global Sports Channel, Australia versus India Daily Test Match Wrap-Up. My name's Phil Wishart and it's great that you can join us wherever you're watching from around the world. Day 5 was a pretty exciting day of cricket, but before we get to all the action, let's see where the teams picked up from on Day 4. At the end of the 4th day's play, India were more than 300 runs behind and 2 wickets down, with Australia having set a target of 407 runs for victory. Pujara and Rahane were at the crease, and it was uncertain as to whether India would have a full batting lineup, with Jadeja and Rishabh Pant having copped blows in the first Indian batting innings. Well, Australia got off to a good start on Day 5, taking the early wicket of Ajinkya Rahane, caught off the bowling of Lyon by Matthew Wade for 4 runs, and this brought Rishabh Pant to the crease. Now Pant was under conjecture as to whether he would bat in the second innings following a blow to the elbow in his first innings, but he did come out, and between himself and Pujara, they put a fantastic partnership on. Pant really put the Indians in the frame to win the match at one point throughout the day, and he was dropped twice by captain Tim Paine, which could have gone on to cost the Australians. However, he scored 97 runs, falling just short of his century before being caught by Pat Cummins off the bowling of Nathan Lyon. Vihari joined Pujara at the crease, and it looked like the Indians were in the frame to win, scoring quickly, and that 407 run total looked like it was well under threat. Unfortunately for the Indians though, Pujara was dismissed and Vihari picked up a hamstring strain, and that really put an end to the hopes of winning the match for the Indians. For them, it was them batting out for a draw, whilst the Australians were still trying to find 5 wickets to win the match. This went deep into the final session, and the Australians were getting frustrated throughout that final session trying to take wickets, while the Indians weren't even taking singles, with Vihari unable to run. So let's take a look at the scorecard as we see the final outcome of the match. Gutsy, resilient and determined is the way to describe the Indian innings, as they finished on 5 for 334 with the match drawn. Vihari and Ashwin managed to stick it out for the whole of the final session, finishing on 23 and 39 not out respectively. But it wasn't about the runs scored, it was about the balls faced, with Australian fieldsmen all around the bat for most of that final session. It was great for Vihari, especially after he was injured. He was able to stick it out, and whilst he wasn't taking many runs, he was making sure that he protected his wicket and didn't force Jadeja or the rest of the Indian side to have to come in late in the day. The Indians faced 131 overs over the final day and the last session of Day 4. For the Australian bowlers, it was a lot of bowling for not much return. Lyon finished on 2 for 114 and Hazlewood finished on 2 for 39, but there was a mammoth amount of overs bowled by the Australians, and Stark, Green and Labuschagne all came home wicketless. As we take a look at the summary of the match, it was a good close competition that finished in a draw and probably deserved on the balance of the game. 5 days of great test cricket with both teams scoring lots of runs and the bowlers having a good impact in the first innings. The series is now tied at 1-1 as we head to Brisbane in a few days' time. Turning to some of the key players for both teams, for Australia, Steve Smith was definitely a star for the batting lineup in the Australian team. He found some runs after what has been a pretty slow start by his standards to the series. He was able to form strong partnerships with Marnus Labuschagne in both innings and with Cameron Green, and he was the first Australian to score a century against India at home in 6 test matches against the Indians. Pat Cummins had a great impact in the first innings, dismantling India with his 4 wickets. He really did prove why he's the world's best test fast bowler. However, wasn't able to recreate that form in the second innings as Australia pushed for victory. And Marnus Labuschagne got some great runs in the first and second innings as well, building partnerships with Will Pucovski, the debutant, and Smith across both innings. He needed to score runs in the 3rd spot, and Smith needed to score in 4th, and both of them did. For India, Ravindra Jadeja was so crucial for the Indian side, taking 4 wickets in that first innings, dismissing Australia when they looked like they were going on to post a very large total. He batted so courageously and was sorely missed in the second bowling innings, and whilst he didn't have to bat in that second innings, they really missed the extra spinner in the second innings of the Australian batting lineup. Navdeep Saini had a very good performance on debut with 4 wickets. Be interesting to see him go from strength to strength throughout his career. And finally, the hero of the day for India, Rishabh Pant. Having been injured in the first innings with a nasty blow to the elbow, he came out and had such a gutsy performance, scoring 97 runs. He gave India a chance of winning the match before Vihari injured himself after Pant departed from the crease. It was a real shame because it would have been great to see him get his century throughout the match today. As to who won the day, well, no surprises, it was definitely India's day. What a great batting performance. They had injuries. They were within a chance of winning the match about the middle of the day. It was a mammoth total 407 runs to win, but they definitely looked in the frame until Vihari picked up his hamstring strain. It was the longest that the Indian side had ever batted since 1979 in a fourth innings of a test match, which just showed their determination to make sure the series went into Brisbane at 1 apiece. For Australia, it wasn't a great day in the field. They dropped Pant twice in the first session, had some drop catches throughout the day, and just couldn't find that winning edge with the bowlers not hitting the right line towards the last few overs in the day. Looking at some questions that come out of the test match and as we look to the fourth test in Brisbane. Firstly, where did Australia get it wrong on day 5? Personally, I think they bowled too short, needed a few more balls on the stumps if they were going to take wickets. Some missed fielding opportunities, a few dropped catches didn't help their cause, and they just weren't able to get the final wickets in that last session of play. Our second question, who will play for India in Brisbane? Their squad has been absolutely devastated by injury throughout the short form and the test series. It looks like Jadeja will be out for that. Rishabh Pant could be a question mark as well, with Saha doing an honourable job in the second innings in the field. And there's plenty more players that may not be able to make the team as well, including Vihari, who picked up that hamstring strain, where it doesn't look like many of the players will be returning from injury who are already out of the squad. Also looking forward to Brisbane, will the Australian bowlers be able to back up? They have had a very hot day in the field on day 5 and bowled a lot of overs. Nathan Lyon having 46 overs. The Quicks all having more than 20 overs and including a day in the field and that last session on day 4. It's a short turnaround to Brisbane, so it'll be interesting to see whether any of them need to be rested, and with Pattinson still injured, would be interesting to see who comes into the squad if one of the Quicks isn't able to play. And our final question, more of a statement, how good is Test match cricket? That was an enthralling day of play, and over the 5 days, both teams had their chances. For those that don't enjoy the game of Test cricket, this was one for the ages and it will be spoken about for years to come, especially if India can pull off a final victory in Brisbane next week. Well, there you have it, 5 days of excellent Test match cricket. It was a great battle between bat and ball, and I don't think at the start of today's play anyone would have predicted what we were going to see in that final session of play. It was just enthralling throughout the day, and despite a few injuries for India, they would have got very close to winning the match, I believe, which was not what I was thinking at the start of the day's play. We hope you've enjoyed all of the daily wrap-ups on the Global Sports channel. If you want to see more content, please like, share and follow the social channels. And until the next test match, we'll see you next time. Goodbye.